October 11th is National Coming Out Day, and we're going to talk about coming out today with my good friend Brenda. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
Great to hear. Now, what we're going to talk about is this wonderful and absolutely beautiful picture.
This painting is almost 50 years old, and it's 40 plus something, so it's probably 45, 46 years old. And those are both of me.
And they're absolutely
And
gorgeous.
it was painted, and I'm forever writing a book, okay? And about 50 years ago, I started writing, and the working title at that time was Looking for a Place to Belong. Because I've always felt that there were two of me that lived in this one body here. And the one thing I'm really clear of is that we don't have a soul, but we are the soul. And the soul has no gender. Okay, gender is only in this particular three-dimensional that we live in. But as we progress into various levels of consciousness, it becomes less gender. No, it's not genderfied at all. So I remember when I was about maybe 2 years old that I was playing with this little black girlfriend, and she asked me to go and meet her mother. So I went to meet her mother, and my name was Stephen at the time, right? And she says, "Mama, this is my girlfriend Stevie. She just looks like a boy." So even at that age, she saw a gender coming through energetically that she couldn't have learned about, but it was just an energetic thing. So what I know to be true now is that in looking for a place to belong, you know, I was in the straight world, in the gay world, in the drag world, in the ministry world, in the music world, in the showbiz world, always searching for a place that I felt that we would be able to combine and be one, and belong, and actually people would open us with open arms and say, "Oh, we love you, you're so fabulous."
And you never found that, or did you?
Never found it. And I'm 75 now.
And 50 years later, you still haven't found it.
50 years later, I'm realizing that in this time in my life, that home is from the inside out. And that we're talking about coming out, right? So it's not as important about coming out to a family, a job, blah, 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 whatever that is, people. What's important is that you come out to yourself.
And at what age did you feel that?
I'm still feeling it. That when I reached 70, something happened at 70 that helped me slip into my own skin a little more. And although about 19, or maybe 2000,
I could not log out.
he can't log out. We got that on video. Okay, so in 2005, I made the conscious decision to begin to live my life more authentically. And that doesn't mean that I was deceptive before. It just meant that I began to be more conscious of who I was and the stories I was telling myself, okay, to make myself feel good and to make myself feel accepted.
So were you insecure?
Did you say were?
Yeah. And are you still?
I think that there's still a lot of insecurity in there that I work with, and I wouldn't say deal with. I don't know that I deal with it as much as I work with it. And maybe a little bit of insecurity keeps us from being what my grandma would call big-headed. I don't know. I do know that the more in touch with
Who
who I am, the more secure I become.
in either way.
Um,
You hear and you hear. You are fully secure.
this is still a work in progress, and more secure this way now at this point in my life. Coming out is a process. We come out to different things. We come out to whatever information we have, whatever knowledge we have, whatever demographic that we're, it brings different.
build your support.
You build your support, and it brings different things together. What you may have thought yesterday, you don't think today. You've become more enlightened, and I know that I feel really comfortable dressed like this, whether it's at work, whether it's out to dinner, whatever, church,
Yeah,
whatever,
with friends.
with friends, and people that aren't friends, and that I don't feel like a freak of something. And when I'm dressed occasionally on this level, as the male identity of me, I don't know that I'm as comfortable anymore.
So your confidence is more as this.
My confidence is more as D than it is as Damien. Damien is still questioning, still trying to analyze.
Do you think still being judged?
I think he judges that part.
So he's very hard on himself.
And I think where she isn't as judgmental and lives in the moment. Eckhart Tolle wrote a book called The Power of Now. And so we try to stay in the power of now, what's happening now, understanding that as we live our fullest life in this moment, that the next moment when it arrives, we will also live our fullest life.
And it'll change.
And it will change, and that's all right for it to change. When I was more in this entity, or expression, let's call it expression, it wasn't all right for things to change. Things had to be more secure, more stable. In this expression, I am stable.
Confident,
and not looking for my validation in somebody else. That I look and I validate who I am. The other flip side of who I am also, I still look for validation. I wonder what they think of me. Do they like me? I'm not good enough. I have a checkered history. A great checkered board. And there's a history of drug usage and other things, which I think is common with a lot of. There's a high percentage of it in the gay and LGBTQ thing, and I feel, if I think about it, that it has to do with your own self-acceptance. And when I said about coming out to yourself, so many people LGBTQ don't come out to themselves. Don't have that conversation with themselves. So while they may be having sexual acts with the same sex or whatever it is, they somehow are able to compartmentalize that. And well, I'm not gay because that's a bad stigma, or I'm not this. And what if, I'm just what ifing, what if for just a moment in time we could decide to let the labels go, and that I am humanity, and this is the expression that my soul, is having today. This is the expression of what my personality is.
That's what you would love to see,
So I
but
would love
it's
to
not
see.
happening.
That's where I
I'm making a difference.
endeavor through all of this,
Mhm.
endeavor to be at a place of living my life. That are you gay? Are you trans? Are you what? I am a human flesh having a spiritual experience at this moment, and it's that experience of light, that experience of love, that experience of joy, that experience of happiness
And that all comes from within.
From within.
So you're not getting as much outside support. So what advice would you give today to the people who want to come out? How did they get started? How did they build their village? How did they...
Get quiet. And last week's talk was on silence. I called it Silence of the Lamb. So you can go to my YouTube channel, which is Open to Possibilities on YouTube. And I mentioned that silent and listen have the same letters except rearranged. And I firmly believe, I know, and I understand that when we get silent, really silent, not quiet, being quiet is totally different.
Mm-hmm.
When we set the intention to be silent and let the monkey mind, the Buddhists call it the monkey mind, I call it the voices under the stairs. Okay? Take 5 minutes, okay? 5 minutes, and set a timer for it if you want to. I'm going to sit here 5 minutes in silence, and I'm going to let my mind just run wild, whatever it's going to do. I'm not going to judge it. I'm going to let it just go and go and go. And as we begin to do that, we begin to tame the mind. And as we begin to tame the mind, then we begin to be able to see the parts that we are, that our mind is not, but where our soul is, where our spirit is, where we actually live. Because the
That's
mind,
wonderful.
the mind will tell you that you're a body and a mind. That's what your mind will tell you. Your mind will say nothing about you being the soul. Because once you learn that you are the soul, then you let go of the ego, edge God out. Okay? I'm going to talk about religiosity. I'm talking about connection with the power greater than us, creator, source. And when we realize that that is our source and that's what we're part of and who we're part of, we have to give it a gender thing, which sometimes seems like being human, we need to. But when we do that connection, we connect with each other, like we connect.
Yes.
And we connect with ourselves. And the more I connect with myself, the more I connect with you, the more I connect with
Very
myself,
true.
I connect with nature. I'm able to take my shoes off and be on the ground and be grounded and have the electromagnetic field that's in the earth suck the negativity out right back into there to swirl it around and the positive come out.
Wow, that's
So,
beautiful. Well said.
Being out isn't about being flamboyant. It's not. You ever notice when the television cameras, especially in the small towns, they love to do this, right? The small towns, well, we're having the gays are having a parade today. They don't show the mothers.
No,
They have, I'm proud of my gay son
the
and their
support
kids.
team, their friends, their family.
They show the people with outrageous costumes. They show the boys with the chaps with no underwear on underneath.
Yes, the wild, crazy side.
The wild, crazy, and there's a time for this, but that's not the expression that we want to send out on a normal base. That we are just like everybody else. We hurt, we love, we laugh, we work. Can you imagine? We would never get jobs done if we did what most people think that gay, lesbian, transgender people do.
You were right there.
They think we're swinging by our tails like monkeys and all we do is have sex in the streets.
Yes,
You
that
know?
is the image.
The image, and there's so much more
But
to
the media does that.
the media does that.
Yes, I
You know?
believe that.
And
It's so wrong.
it's time to tell the truth.
It's time, yes,
Yeah.
to come out and tell
come
the
out.
truth.
So, what would I say to you today? Come out, come out, come out wherever you are. Whatever your persuasion is, come out, and in coming out, be true to who you are. But at the same time, be open to possibilities in your life. Just because you come out and you put a label on it for this particular time in your life, don't assume, because assume is make an ass out of you and me. Don't assume that that label is one that is in stone. That's only a marker that you're using right now to get you to the next step or to the next intersection where you may change something different.
Mm-hmm.
And that's quite all right. It's quite all right to evolve and unfold and be the wonderful treasure that we're created to be. Because the one thing I want you to know is that you that are watching this, you are an absolute wonderful human treasure. And I want you to say this as I close this segment. My tomorrow is going to be better than today. Come on, say it with me. My tomorrow is going to be better than today. And you start beginning to believe that, you start beginning to live that, you start beginning to mold yourself around that. There's and I'll shut up with this, I'm a student of A Course in Miracles, which is about changing your mindset. Has a lot of religious terminology, but it's not a religious orientated course. It says, if you knew who walked beside you on the path that you have chosen, you would never doubt or fear ever again.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And
very well said.
You know that there are times in my life that I've been unsheltered. We called it homeless back in those times. There were times in my life where we've talked about drug addiction and sex addiction and a messy life, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All that said, to say this, for at least 30 years now, I've lived my life in the way that if you knew who walked beside you, knowing who walks beside me, what spirit walks beside me of kindness, of love, of joy, not judgmental, not shame, if you knew who walked beside you on the path that you have chosen, the path that I have chosen, I've chosen this path, then you will never doubt or fear again.
Yeah, that's
And
beautiful.
people often ask me about the God concept, and I say, God doesn't really make things happen. We get into situations and God drops in to help us.
That's lovely.
And as we allow that help to be, and we're remolded into that character and that person that we're meant to be, of light, shining bright, then we find our purpose. A lot of people don't know their purpose. We find our purpose, which is goodness. Find our purpose in seeing ourselves in each other. Sometimes you've heard me say, what I see in you,
Yes.
I see in me. If I didn't know what it was, I wouldn't recognize it.
Yes.
And every time we extend goodness, that's just the extension of godness.
Yeah.
So anything else before we close?
I want to say you absolutely are fabulous. I'm so blessed to be part of your life. So blessed.
I am the one that feels blessed to be a part of your life. You make a difference to me
You do too.
by how you show up in life and the wonderful human treasure that you truly are.
That's how I feel about
You
you, my
inspire.
friend. Signing off, D for